It's the Odd Drunk Podcast, a very strange podcast. The drunkest show in the world. It's Jackson and Colton talking out of their ass. We don't care as long as drinks are poured. Sometimes we have our friends here. We will talk about anything. We don't care as long as we have beer. And if you let that whiskey ring. The Odd Drunk Podcast.
Everybody on a new segment of the Odd Drunk Pod.
Let's get
We
philosophical.
philosophize. Philosophical. That's my new favorite word.
Well, yes,
it's
it's
and we're also
a philosophical is like what a philosopher eats instead of a popsicle. Yeah.
I don't think he would eat it. I think he would write his argument and
He would think
stare
about
at
what
and
it what
would
it
melt,
is.
what it implies, what the implications of the philosophical.
What are the
before you-
implications of a popsicle, Jackson?
Why is this popsicle? Okay.
Here's a fun hint for everyone. A fun tip. You can save
tip,
time.
okay.
You can save time by if you can, like how you can meal prep and put your meals in the freezer for later. You can do the same thing with popsicles. You can prep them ahead of time and then keep them in the freezer for later use. Yeah.
You solved all the world's problems. Just stick it in a freezer.
Stick it in Why don't they
You
just
solved our popsicle
why don't they
problem.
just use freezers?
Just freezers.
Freezers.
That'd be my
Global warming,
campaign's.
freezers.
That's my campaign's slogan. Yeah, here's my solution to global warming, everybody. Just put it in your freezer. Just use your freezer.
Freezer. I mean,
Freezers.
like, I don't have problems with the only times I have problems with like my frozen, TV dinners and frozen veggies and stuff going warm is when my freezer breaks.
Yeah.
So
Make America freezer again.
yeah, global warming. There's probably just the freezer that keeps Earth cold is broken, and they just gotta
Yeah,
gotta
they
replace
just need
it.
to fix it. It just needs some more Freon or something, more coolant.
Yeah,
Anyways,
because we definitely need more
that's
Freon is what's
more
gonna solve
Freon in the
global warming.
atmosphere. Because that's gonna help. Yeah. Anyways, we got a fun episode. Yeah, like joking, but it's a open-ended philosophical question, and originally proposed by physicist Enrico Fermi.
Well, sort of
And,
proposed by him. More like he made
sort
an
of. It was more.
off-comment
I mean,
in a conversation once.
yeah, and then
now they named
they're
it
like,
after
"Oh, let's
him.
look into this. Let's actually look into this." Basically, and it's also an aliens episode again.
Yeah,
sort of.
We like talking about aliens, but we thought we should put another spin on it than just rambling about general alien stuff.
I'll probably post a picture. I have my special edition Alien Romulus cup.
Ooh,
Drinking
cool.
it's like a goblet. Also, great movie, by the way. I think it goes back to I think it goes back to form for the Alien franchise. It's kind of a good cross between Alien and Aliens.
Nice.
There is some questionable CGI in there, but it would be a spoiler for me to even talk about it. It just involves some de-aging, bringing back a long gone actor.
I did see something about that.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's some questionable CGI. It's been out long enough. I feel like I can talk about it, but I guess I won't, just for you listeners if you haven't seen it yet. Because, however, this person in the movie plays a pretty significant role, so it's a little jarring just seeing them bring this person back. It's kind of in the style of how they brought
Tarkin back in Rogue One.
Yeah, it's like that. But aside from that, I thought it was a great film. I mean, nothing's perfect, But out of all the Alien sequels, I mean, it's like the third best one.
Nice. Hell yeah.
I teeter between Aliens and Alien on which one's my favorite. I think I
Yeah.
like the atmosphere of Alien,
Yeah, I think
but
in many,
overall, just as a blockbuster
like in
movie, I
many,
like Aliens.
as a film snob, it's definitely Alien. It's better. But as
But
a
just as like a
normal person who just likes fun movies,
yeah, as a normal person, you hear that,
Aliens
Ridley
might be
Scott?
better. Yeah, I
Normal
love
people like James Cameron movies.
Ridley Scott has made
The box
some of my
office.
favorite movies. Blade Runner is one of
Yeah.
my favorite movies of all
Same
time.
universe,
Yeah,
right?
it is. Yeah. Um, I love Ridley Scott, but damn, sometimes he needs to just shut up.
Mhm. And sometimes
He
he needs to stop making
he
movies
did
that
he
he's not
did
gonna stop.
he made Napoleon, right? That was him.
And Gladiator 2 is
Y
coming out,
yeah,
which,
which
looks promising-ish. I mean,
yeah, maybe.
he doesn't do a lot of sequels, so since
Yeah.
this is one of his rare sequels that he's actually directing, and yeah,
Yeah.
produced um Alien Romulus, and with Fede Alvarez directing, who did the Evil Dead remake and did Don't Breathe, and he's a great
Yeah.
horror director, and he's good at kind of revitalizing older series and putting his own spin
I
on
think
it.
bringing a horror
Um,
director to the Alien series is
there's
probably a good idea.
there's a really cool new alien like xenomorph type that they introduced in the film
Yeah.
that was actually disturbing, like actually scary.
Is
Like,
it
yeah, the xenomorph is like scary,
the
but it's not like
really tall, like skinny one? Is that the
it's a tall, yeah, it's
yeah.
tall and
Well, I just mentioned
it
that like
has weird
I
implications.
haven't seen it, but the that creature is an actual like they got an actual actor who
Yeah,
is
that's
tall
yeah.
and skinny like that.
Yeah, he's like over
Uh
7 feet tall.
Apparently they just found him.
Yeah, and they also had somebody for, wear a practical xenomorph costume. Like they did a lot of,
Hell yeah.
even though there's some jarring CGI, there's still a lot of practical effects in there, which I appreciate.
I will defend. I think people are mean to CGI these days because there's been a lot of
Served
movies
purpose in the
that
story.
yeah, well
So
there's been a lot of very pointless bad CGI recently and it causes people to be
there's a
mean.
Minecraft trailer that just dropped. That
Okay.
I watched it at work after you texted me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's I texted you immediately after I
side
watched it.
tangent, but
I was
it
like,
looks like it literally looks like Warner Brothers is just like
yeah,
Chat GPT make a Minecraft movie.
it looks so bad. And they got Jason
Like the
Momoa
art
and Jack
style is
Black to do it. Like what?
yeah, and it's just weird casting. And
Uh,
then the whole like, oh, sucked into the video game thing is such a tired trope. And
yeah.
then the whole like, let's do halfway live action, halfway, and it should have been just animated. And it honestly, I think
Well,
it could have been just done in the Minecraft, just in the game. I think that could have been cool.
honestly, I think
Um,
even if they
or at
did an
least
if
stay true to the
even if they did animated,
pixel art style.
Minecraft I think is a weird choice for an adaptation at all.
Well, but of course they're gonna do it.
Well,
But
yeah,
hopefully
but
studios
it's
learn. Hopefully this flops.
well,
I mean, I
it's
don't hope. Well, okay, that sounds bad. I don't want.
yeah.
But like the Borderlands movie was like
Well, it's
actually
like
terrible from what I heard,
this
and it flopped. So
this
hopefully they learn that you can't just slap a video game
yeah.
in a movie and like
Well, it's like this, especially coming right off the heels of Borderlands, really gives off this impression that we had we had a few years there where we got some legitimately good video game
yeah, the
adaptation. We
Sonic.
got Sonic, the Mario movie
The new Sonic
was
trailer looks good.
yeah, that
The
looks
Shadow.
yeah,
Keanu Reeves'
Keanu.
Shadow,
I love that Keanu is going to
which
be
that's
Shadow.
actually good casting.
Yeah. But like
And
Sonic was good. The Mario movie was pretty decent. And
it
wildly
was safe. It was
successful.
very corporate, but like
But it was
it was
okay
still
though.
true to Mario. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
still true to Mario,
Like
right?
it helped that we were buzzed and stoned when we watched it,
Yeah,
um
of course.
but I mean you go in expecting a Mario movie and that's what they gave you. It was Mario.
Yeah,
And it was fun. And then you have like the more serious stuff like Last of Us and Fallout, which are both phenomenal. And
yeah.
just
And honestly, Fallout. I think Fallout might take the cake on like the most faithful video game adaptation I've seen, honestly, because
I
it's
would
its
agree with that.
own
Yeah.
story. It's its own story, right? And I think that's why it works so well.
Yeah.
Because they're not adapting or like shortening or speed running through an original game story that is always going to be done better in the original game, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's its own story, but the universe and the lore and the world building and just everything is, so
And
faithful. And that's why
Fallout,
it
I think,
works.
lends itself so well in the first place because you take something like if they were to do an Elder Scrolls show or movie, as much as that could be really good,
They would
if
Game
you're
of Thrones it,
yeah, well, it's like Elder Scrolls is a universe that
like
like
Rings of Power.
unless you get really nerdy and into the lore, it's pretty generic fantasy in a lot of places, with the exception of maybe like
Yeah.
Morrowind has more of a unique feel to it.
Yeah, they would have to focus
But
on,
like
or maybe like the Dwemer.
I'm not saying that they couldn't make a really good show or movie that takes place in the Elder Scrolls universe, but it would just feel like Game of Thrones 2 Electric Boogaloo versus like
Which is what,
Fallout by default,
yeah,
no matter what you do with it, it's a unique universe that stands out just
yeah.
by default. And that
Um,
served it so well. But like coming off of like these few years of some actually good video game adaptations with Borderlands, and now they're announcing this Minecraft movie, it just feels like a bunch of people in a boardroom watching numbers
the
go up and down
casting
on a
is just
screen and going, okay, well, obviously this is trending. What popular video game can we get the
what's
rights
a
to
yeah,
do a
what's
movie
another
for?
yeah, what's another beloved
Yeah,
franchise we can ruin for,
without giving any
people.
thoughts to what the
Yeah.
franchise is, to how it would actually work and play out.
And
They
dude,
probably just went, okay, what's something we can market to kids that's popular, that's based off a video game because Mario and Sonic did well. Oh, Minecraft, that's popular, right?
the art style barely even resembles what I think of with
Yeah.
Minecraft.
Do you remember
It's
like
just
you still see them every
like
once in a while?
one of those
Those
realistic mods from like 10 years ago
yeah, well,
with
it's like
ray tracing.
there's those
It's,
AI generate like you said it when I texted you.
it's
You
like
said
that.
it looked like AI generated, which didn't occur to
Yeah,
me
it's
when I
like
first
that.
watched it, but I was like, that's spot on.
If you typed
Um,
in give me realistic Minecraft ray tracing,
yeah,
that's what you get. Yeah, and it's just it doesn't have any soul to it or any of the original art style or spirit of. I mean, who's to say? I mean, until it actually comes out, but just visually speaking,
yeah.
um,
On
it
the
does not
on the bright side,
like.
our expectations are so low
No, but the
that
character designs, the
well,
models,
I'm
it's
just
just
I'm just
so
going on the bright side. Our expectations would be so low that they can't. The worst they can do is meet our expectations.
right.
Um,
But like visually, you would expect it to look like Minecraft and not like a heavily shittily modded version of
yeah,
Minecraft, because
I
that's
think
what it looks
I
like.
think that's the most unsettling.
It looks like with texture packs and with ray
Yeah,
tracing, but like not even done well.
like
And
if they're gonna do real people get sucked
and
into the
then
video
just
game
throwing real
thing.
people in there and like a terribly like done like volume, like
Yeah,
obviously it
well,
was filmed like in a box, in a sound
if
stage.
they're gonna do like stick with the whole real people get sucked in, what's wrong with using the video game graphics? If you got sucked into a video game, it would
Right.
be with
You would
those
be
graphics. Like,
or
I mean,
turn them into the Minecraft character
yeah,
models. Just,
I mean,
but they're too scared to do the voices, which is weird because
yeah,
animated movies make tons of money, and it doesn't have to be good. Look at the Minions movies.
yeah. Well, I
But
mean, they've done
sometimes it
like
can be good, like Inside Out 2.
um,
That's still the highest
yeah.
grossing movie this year,
Well, and
aside
they've
from
done
Deadpool
with
and Wolverine.
Minecraft. They did the Minecraft story mode, which is the Telltale Games
Yeah,
spin-off, which
could
I've
have
not
just been
played.
like
I've
that.
heard was meh, but like people didn't hate it though.
Right.
Um,
Anyways,
and also with the graphics thing, as much as it probably would still suck, I would be more down to watch Jason Momoa run around on a green screen with actual Minecraft graphics than that AI looking crap that they did. Like,
yeah.
it would probably still
I
suck, but
honestly,
I would be more on board with that. Like,
some of the YouTube Minecraft movies look better than this.
Yeah.
Like some of the fan made ones that are just made in the Minecraft engine, just made in the game.
Yeah,
You know,
like the machinima style
I mean, yeah, the
ones.
machinimas, the old machinimas from back in the day. I mean, I'd
Yeah.
rather watch
Who
that.
talk
I'd rather
who
watch
talks
like
about
Diamond
machinimas anymore?
Minecart or whatever.
Yeah.
I'd rather watch
Shadow of
what's his fucking
Israfel. That was the Yogscast one.
yeah, and what's the other guy
Was the what was the
guy
guy that made those music videos in with like those Minecraft
Sky
music?
does Minecraft,
Yeah,
and I know he got fucking burnt out. Anyways,
Ant Venom. Did he do any of those
Ant
videos?
Venom, that's another. I
He's
think
still around.
yeah, he's still around.
He's
I
still
think he
kicking.
does different things.
No, he still does a
Probably
lot of
Fortnite.
Minecraft stuff, but
Nice.
I've seen some of his videos recently. It's very funny because he's still around, but he doesn't
Yeah, I feel like you would just get more out of that.
he seems
I
more
mean,
like he doesn't give a
for
shit
free.
anymore, which is
Right.
kind of entertaining.
And not just like a shill.
Um uh
Anyways, enough
but yeah,
Minecraft talk. Uh, Going back to my aliens talk, it brings me one of my theories on the Fermi Paradox. But before we
yeah.
get to our theories and like different possibilities and different things that have been discussed in the scientific community and just within the whole greater UFO and alien community. But
Yeah.
it's a real uh, it's not really a paradox. I mean, it's just a
No,
question. I
it's not a
mean,
paradox at all, but
that's just a fun,
yeah.
a cooler name for it.
Yeah.
Anyways, here's just a brief explanation. This is from space.com, which is fitting. Um,
Nice.
the Fermi paradox seeks to answer the question of where the aliens are. Pretty simple. Given that our solar system is quite young compared to the rest of the universe, we're roughly 4.5 billion years old compared to 13.8 billion, and that interstellar travel might be fairly easy to achieve given enough time, Earth should have been visited by aliens already, the idea goes.
Hmm.
Or at least we should have had contact of some sorts
It's
by
like
now,
this.
right? You
I don't
think?
remember the exact numbers, but there's it's like just like mathematically. So even if you were talking about only the Milky Way galaxy
Hmm.
and the percentage of stars in the Milky Way galaxy that have habitable planets or are likely to have habitable planets, and then even if only like it's like 0.01% of those habitable
Intelligent.
planets develop life, then there would be over 1,000 planets in the galaxy that have intelligent life on them. That's just,
Right.
or yeah, and that's just going
So,
off of math, and that's assuming
yeah.
very small like chances even.
Yeah, that's just
And
assuming,
that's not
yeah,
even and
small
that's not even
chances.
taking into account how old the galaxy is
Right.
and the fact that if there was
Um,
intelligent life that developed, you know, 6 billion years ago on some planet, they would have had 6 billion years to develop.
yeah. And we'll
Um,
get into why, maybe some civilizations just inevitably implode on themselves due to,
mhm.
warfare or like like what we're going through. Warfare, climate change, self-destruction, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that's just something that ends up happening to higher intelligent life that you either destroy yourself or you advance past that point and and then AI is also a talking point
Yeah.
that
You either die a
could be
hero or live
involved in
long enough
this,
to see yourself become
like
the villain.
Dyson spheres and like self-replicating orbs that populate, galaxies. And
Yeah.
then maybe like the UFOs and everything people think are, that we've seen or, like the stuff the Navy's shown and all that. Maybe they don't have passengers because, with the G forces and everything they talk about, realistically, they can't have passengers because you would die.
Hmm.
You would be mush. You would be jelly. But who's to
Yeah.
say they have to have a passenger?
Yeah.
Could just be AI operated drones that are,
AI would not
you
have
know,
the limitations, the physical limitations that humans or
exactly
living beings
living
would
beings.
have.
And also, who's to say, and this is another talking point with, trying to gather possibilities of life and different planets and exoplanets and our surrounding solar system, and various moons of Jupiter like Europa and Titan and, just all over, is not all life. We assume that life has to be carbon based and that has to depend on water, but that may not necessarily be true. There could be silicon based life. There could be life that could subside on, Zion gas. Who the fuck knows, right? And there's even there's this YouTuber, also author John Michael Gaudier, that I've been listening to, and this is kind of what sparked this idea initially. But I've been watching his videos on the Fermi Paradox. We'll put his link in the description. Great stuff. But he's been talking about recent hints of life on Venus from various gases we've discovered, and from a probe that was sent down a few years ago that crashed down, and they had enough data to pull that shows, possible hints at phosphate gases and gases that in enough quantities, could imply life, and, more hints of life on Mars,
I'm excited for if we're able to actually discover life, even if it's just bacteria and shit,
right,
on Venus or Mars. The implications, not only that would just be a big deal by itself, but like the idea of,
I think we already
witnessing
found,
well, it's like the idea, but
like microbial life.
there was, I thought there was something like
hints
on an asteroid or something like that someone found, or
like fossils of microbial life, something like that.
But anyways, the idea of being able to witness life in an app or in an environment that is alien, I think would be very cool, because life can survive on Earth, but how would life survive on a place like Venus? It's so different from Earth. But if we were to discover life there, that would be fascinating to see.
Well, and
how does it do this?
There's another theory I saw that maybe possibly a lot of planets with life are water worlds, and they just don't have the capabilities to have interstellar travel because they can't get out of the ocean, because they can't, create rockets and all that shit.
A lot of theories
so
about
it's just there could be a lot of fish and shit out there in marine life.
Is it Europa? Or what's the
Europa is ice. It believed to have ocean.
There's believed to be an ocean
surface ice. There's a lot of oceanic ice moons out there.
Yeah.
Even Pluto has hints of that. Yeah. Pluto's a planet, God damn it.
Before we get too far into the paradox, though.
But I want to get into.
Well.
Okay, yeah, go.
Before we get too far into the paradox, I do want to. We got to get this over with. Thinking about alien life. There might be intelligent life out there, and it gets me wondering, Jackson. It gets me thinking. Gets me philosophizing.
What if aliens made beer?
You know how beer and alcohol is universal among humans. Every culture in the world has their own style of it. Is it universal among intelligent life? Do aliens
imagine what they're brewing
have
up there,
their brews
out in space
and stuff? Yeah. And if so, I'd want to learn about that.
I would like to know what
which begs the question, the most important question of this whole episode. What are you drinking tonight?
What are they drinking?
What are they drinking? What
aliens
would you
in the
share
future
with them if an alien were to come down? What would you crack? What brew would you crack and
oh
say,
man,
hey,
that's a tough one. Like a beer, one beer to share to an intelligent alien life.
Yeah.
Like I'm Han Solo over here.
That's a tough one. Yeah. But what are you drinking tonight?
Here's a good old American banquet. I don't know, man.
I mean, maybe.
Just start with the basics, or no, they would. I don't know. But anyways, out of my alien cup, I am drinking some Rosa Obscura red wine blend.
Nice.
Pretty good. I mean, it's nothing to write home about, but it's good enough.
Where is it from, if I may ask?
From California.
Oh, nice. A lot of red.
Pretty basic stuff.
From California.
Yeah. I have this wine subscription service I started a few years ago, and I've got a lot of credit on it. I'm like, well, fuck, I might as well use it.
Yeah.
Because for a little while I forgot I was paying for it, and I was like, oh shit, I didn't cancel this. I was like, well, you can cancel it, but you can keep
Keep your
your
credits and have
allocated
them
funds,
send them,
so I
have
can
them
just
send you wine.
keep getting wine for a while, for a
Nice.
little while.
Like paying ahead of time.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's like paying ahead of time for drinks. And I also ordered, I already drank it, but some nice mojito blends that they
Mm,
offer. I forget what company it was, but it was pretty good. Um,
nice.
you
Oh
know,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah, that's all. That's all I
Nice.
have right now.
I've got because it's the season now. It's it's not spooky season yet. Well, actually,
Well,
well,
some may say
it is September now. Walmart has Halloween decorations out.
there's Spirit Halloween's like around every corner around
Yeah,
here.
the Spirit Halloween here in town is
Um,
open now. So I guess it is the early days of spooky season. So I
for
have
me, yeah, September's like the
I have
early days for
here
me.
from Ska Brewing in Durango, the
Hmm.
Oktoberfest. I
Jelly,
also I also had I just grabbed some singles from the store. I drank it before we got to the segment, but I
some
also
Sam Adams.
grabbed a Sam Adams Oktoberfest because I actually like Sam
I
Adams. They're not bad. But
Probably next episode or coming up, probably gonna get some Oktoberfest. I saw
yeah,
Sierra Nevada had some, and I'm
nice.
sure I could find ska Oktoberfest if I went to like Total
Yeah,
Wine or something. They do have a lot of ska
yeah.
there,
They
more options.
the rumors right now are Sky is going to be making their Mexi Lager year round now. It's no longer going to be
And yeah,
seasonal.
that's a pretty decent, good
Um,
go-to
I
Mexi
wish they would make
lager,
this Oktoberfest year round though, because it is probably my favorite beer from Ska.
right? Why?
It's
But then
so
it wouldn't
good.
be special. That would take away the,
That's true. It's
you
just
know,
all right. I love Ska Brewing. They make good beers, but they do the same shit over and over again. It's either
a lot of
Mexi
IPAs,
Lager or hoppy beers, and they don't do it every time they do something different. It gets discontinued.
the seasonal
Um,
thing. Yeah.
they used to have the Nut Brown and the Steel Toe Milk Stout. That was really good, but they don't make those anymore. I was at the brewery this last weekend, and they had, just as an on tap, they weren't canning it, a Dunkel that they made. And let me tell you, that was
Yeah, I think
tasty.
I've had that before.
Yeah. And
I
but
know
they
you're not a huge fan, but their winter, what is it?
oh, Euphoria.
The Euphoria.
Yeah.
I quite enjoy Euphoria.
Yeah, I think
Um,
Euphoria is a little overrated, but
but anyways, I think some of their seasonal stuff, yeah, definitely stands out, and yeah, they should maybe
yeah.
find a excuse to roll it out more. I
Yeah.
mean, at least I mean, most breweries, yeah, roll out Oktoberfest as early as August and definitely in September.
My favorite beer that they ever put out, and I know Cheese, our good friend Cheese, really liked this one too, but it was for
Also known as moldy bread on
yeah.
the Discords.
Um, but they put out a pear ale parody is what they called it for Snowdown
I've
one
had
year,
that.
and then they
Love it.
re-released it like a couple years later for like a limited run. I don't know why they did that out of nowhere. I remember I was in a liquor store
Yeah, I think I had
and I was
it during the
shopping.
re-release.
Yeah, I had the original one, and it was great. It's my favorite beer that they've ever made. And then it was like I was at a liquor store shopping for some beer one day and I saw that. I was like, there's no fucking way
Yeah.
that they're doing that again. And they were, but they haven't done it since. And it's every time they
Oh
have got
yeah,
something really special on their hands, they just
a lot of breweries, craft or otherwise, are guilty of rolling out a lot of IPAs.
yeah.
I will
I
say,
I
and
love a good IPA.
they're technically a craft brewery, and that's their like one of their prideful statements. But Sam Adams,
Yeah.
as far as like seasonal stuff that everyone can access, they always
Yeah.
have something cool, each season. I always
I
enjoy
actually like
Sam
Sam
Adams.
Adams.
Yeah.
It's never my go-to brewery, but I don't know. I saw
I
this in
always
the
have
they had
them. I
singles
always get one of their
available and
mix packs at least once every. I love their Christmas beers the most, or their winter ones the most.
yeah.
I think they have really good winter options. Like they
I
had
think
like a
Christmas beers are
cranberry
an
like
underrated
stout. Like
category of beers.
yeah.
Everyone talks about
Anyways,
Oktoberfest and pumpkin beers and stuff like
yeah.
that, but some Christmas winter
Hmm.
beers, Einstock makes such an excellent
Yeah.
it's like a winter Scotch ale that's just it's so good. So good.
Anyways, we barely talked about our topic. So let's come on,
Yes.
let's get the show on the road. Fermi Paradox. So yeah, back in the 50s, Enrico Fermi, basically during a lunchtime conversation, was just like, "Where is everybody?"
Yeah.
And that's what started this all. Uh, this is a quote from representatives of the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, SETI Institute in Mountain View, California. Fermi grasped that any civilization with a modest amount of rocket technology and an immodest amount of imperial incentive could rapidly colonize the entire galaxy. Um, Within a few tens of millions of years, every star system could be brought under the wing of empire. Tens of millions of years may sound like a long project, but in fact, it's quite short compared to the age of the galaxy, which is roughly 1,000 times more. So who's to say maybe that's not about to happen? I don't know. But let's get into maybe it's Warhammer out there somewhere, like Warhammer 40K, and the Space Marines are just going to show up for the Emperor, or, you know. I can't wait for that game. Anyways, no, I'm not going to
If
sidetrack.
the Warhammer universe showed up,
Oh God, we're fucked.
yeah.
We're so
I've
screwed.
been getting into Warhammer lore. It's a lot of fun, but one of the reasons why it's a lot of fun is the entire concept is it's just all fucked.
Yeah.
There's no winning.
No. Anyways, maybe that I want to get into some theories. So like why okay, yeah, you can get into like the UFOs or UAPs, what you would call it. Oh, maybe they have already encountered us, or the ancient alien thing. That's I think that a lot of that's stupid, but
Yeah.
I think there's validity to a lot of the UFO sightings. I'll give credit to that and all that. But let's just talk open-ended. Why haven't we had direct contact with alien life? Or,
Yeah.
why
Well,
at this point you think uh, it would have already happened by now, and that's kind of idea.
well,
So here's
I
one
be
of my
yeah, what's you go first and then yeah,
well
because I read about the Fermi paradox and before reading or watching YouTube videos, let's be real, I didn't read. Um, uh, but I read up on just like the Wikipedia page of the Fermi paradox, and before I went on YouTube and watched a bunch of theories and stuff, I let myself think about it for a while.
all right.
So, but I want to hear what you're gonna say first.
Well, I have I have a few different ones I want to get into.
Yeah.
One of them that I think is an interesting kind of answer, interesting theory to the Fermi paradox or the Fermi question, so to speak, is the dark forest theory.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole idea of it applies kind of basically to like tribal, like ancient, like old tribal life, where you wouldn't know that there's a neighboring tribe in the same forest out of fear
Mm.
from the other tribes. Basically, you would seclude yourself and you wouldn't reach out
Yeah.
just out of preservation and protection. So, in the vastness of the galaxy and then of the universe, maybe a vast majority of advanced civilizations um, have similar fears that we do of alien life and of the possibility of encountering alien life, and they simply don't want to encounter alien life, and that fear and that isolation and just the natural vastness of the universe contributes to why we haven't encountered each other.
Yeah.
And also the idea that you wouldn't know there's anything until you actually basically have either the incentive, it would have to be some kind of incentive for whether that's, uh, colonization or scientific incentive or, going out for resources, etc.
Yeah.
uh, there has to be an incentive to reach out to the depths of space outside your planet, your solar system,
Yeah.
let alone the time and the advanced technology it would take to develop intergalactic
My
travel. You also have to have that incentive.
yeah.
So possibly maybe there is a lot of intelligent life that's a similar um advancement as we are, maybe more advanced than we are, but they simply lack any reason to reach out into the depths of space and reach out for other civilizations.
Yeah.
That's one
Well, my
thing.
first thoughts with the Fermi paradox is I guess the way that the source I was reading, the way they described it was like because of the likelihood of intelligent life and civilizations that by now they ought to have either reached out to us or there ought to be
Or maybe they already
evidence.
have.
Uh, and my first thought is not maybe they already have. Maybe they have.
Well, I did have a
But
thought that maybe
why?
aliens visited Earth during Age of the Dinosaurs or during like
Oh yeah,
the crustacean period, and they're like, "Oh, this place is terrifying." Like,
yeah.
they never wanted to come back. Like, and if you're light years away
It's gonna take
and you look on Earth, you're looking at us in the past, and
yeah,
they're like, "Yeah, fuck that." Or maybe they're looking at us now and they're like, "Yeah, fuck that," which is
yeah.
reasonable.
Well, no, well that
Out
is
of the
that
whole
is another
fear
thing I
aspect.
encountered is this idea that light and even like communications takes light years to
Hmm.
travel. There might be an alien civilization out there, but they might be looking at Earth and seeing an Earth from a million years ago.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
that's how light works.
So why
There's this,
there
like
would be no
it comes to
interest?
mind, the star Betelgeuse, which you can usually see in the night sky if you live in a
I don't see it three times. Michael Keaton will pop
yeah.
out
But Betelgeuse is
second time.
uh there's a lot of because of the way it's been acting
The
recently.
new movie.
There it a lot of people think that we might, at least within our lifetime, see it supernova.
Right.
It's a possibility. We don't know it, but like we think there's a possibility of it. Um, that means it actually supernova already. It's been dead our entire lifetime
Yeah.
because that's how light works.
Yeah. It's
And
all yeah, there's so many
that's an
stars
idea.
out.
Yeah, and that's an idea. Is like there's a possibility that like first of all, like we send out communications, but that's going to take forever to get to anyone, and they might be looking at
And they
us,
might be long dead.
and even if they might be long dead, or they might be looking at us, and they might say they even have the technology that's like strong enough to
Right.
actually see us properly.
Right.
Um,
Or they have
they might
intergalactic
be looking
travel
at
and
an
they
Earth
can.
from a million years ago, and
Right.
and then even if they did see an Earth that is had life on it and humans on it, they might send out communication, but that communication might not get here until we're gone.
Right.
Like
Here's another possible answer to the Fermi paradox, a more albeit Lovecraftian kind of this creepy, scary one. Um, well, actually, there's kind of two here. Well, they're similar, but the alien zoo hypothesis
yeah.
is that yeah, there's an alien civilization or civilizations or that has advanced intergalactic travel, etc., that can actively visit us, and we just don't know, and they're just observing us and just
Yeah.
view us as lesser, just as like you would view a zoo, go to a zoo
Yeah.
and the animals have don't know what you are or why you're there, like. And then also to expand on that, so think about how we look at microbial life through a microscope.
Uh-huh.
There's like a whole universe there. just right on your countertop. You know what I mean? With microbial life. The scale of the universe, like you watch those universe scale videos, right? And
Yeah,
like
it's
how absolutely ginormous not only stars can be like in comparison to Earth and comparisons to our sun, but galaxy, the size and scope of nebulas and galaxy and like the pillars of creation, like all
it's
that stuff.
insane. Yeah.
Um, hundreds of millions of light years. The scope of the universe is absolutely insane and so hard to comprehend for the human mind and to conceptualize. And whenever I watch one of those videos, I'm like, well, yeah, if I don't make it work on time, what the fuck does it really matter? Right?
Yeah.
Anyways, so if we have the capabilities to observe microbial life, who's to say there's not some kind of Lovecraftian cosmic entity that's doing that to us as we speak?
Yeah.
We wouldn't know. Does a tardigrade know when it's getting studied by scientists,
No, I would assume
biologists?
not.
I wouldn't think so.
Although I don't know.
Does a virus, you know what I mean? Like maybe we are as small as a virus as we are to another civilization.
Does the COVID-19 virus know what it did?
Yeah, that fucking
Like
it will pay for its crimes. But no, the idea, yeah, kind of going along with the alien zoo thing that, yeah, alien life hasn't contacted us, but it is observing us, and it is aware of us, and we don't know any better because it's just incomprehensible, and we can't understand.
Well,
That's another one.
I mean that kind of plays into like my immediate thought when I read about the Fermi Paradox was, so it says like either alien life ought to contact us or there ought to be evidence, and my thought was just like, why ought they contact us? Why ought there be evidence? If the universe, and that goes into like what I said about like light years and how slow things take, why ought there be evidence? Because it could be there is alien life trying to contact us, but it's just by the time their messages reach us, we'll be long gone.
Yeah, it could be that.
Or shit like that. Or if there are aliens like out there,
Lovecraft.
Why ought they contact us?
Yeah.
We're not like are we?
Well, we're a warfaring,
like I feel
species that can hardly.
But I feel like, especially because a lot of these theories make this assumption that that civilizations even get to this, starfaring.
The assumption is with enough time.
Yeah.
But however, here's a couple reasons.
But it's like I say, like, but like a lot of these things make this assumption that civilization does get to that point, and it's just like, what if they don't? And even if they,
here's a couple reasons.
And if they do, we're obviously not to that point. So why would they give a shit about us? Why ought they?
Right, because
I think
maybe not until
I really feel that a lot of these theories go off of this assumption that we are, despite assuming there's other civilizations, are still assuming that we're special. If there are other civilizations
that they give a shit about us,
that are capable of doing the shit that these theories say they're doing, we're not
special.
Yeah,
I mean, if you have those capabilities, you're manipulating time and space, like a toy.
And
why would you give a shit?
On the scale of the Milky Way galaxy, just like the location of our solar system and stuff, we're in the fucking boonies. We're not close to we're in the outer rim. We're like the hillbilly trailer that's down by the river 30 miles outside of Atlanta, Georgia, and Atlanta, Georgia is where all the aliens are.
Right.
That's a weird comparison.
Well, and that's kind of like the Dark Forest thing where maybe they just haven't reached out because
Yeah, but like why would some law firm in Atlanta, Georgia care about some trailer down by the river 30 miles into like the countryside in rural Georgia?
Just a bunch of hillbillies making moonshine.
Why would some alien civilization in the heart of the Milky Way give a shit about us?
Here's another answer, and this is another kind of scary one. and I got this one from reading watching videos about alien lore, like the xenomorphs, and the engineers and all that, and alien comics. And that there's a alien comic, I forget what it's called, like Dark Descent or something, or that's the game. But anyways, where the aliens, the xenomorphs, their whole purpose
I do
in the
have to quickly
greater
throw out there, I did not mean to imply that people in Atlanta, Georgia are aliens, in case anyone from Atlanta.
right.
That was just a
No, but yeah. Yeah. But the idea of the great filter, and
Yeah.
there's some alien comics that explain that the xenomorphs and the queen and the xenomorph hive is essentially a filter for civilizations. You either get murdered by them and then you surpass and then you become a greater civilization, or you die, right? So
Yeah.
this idea of a great filter, and I don't think it's alien monsters, and I don't even think, well, it could be like, our own self-destruction, warfare. That could be one of the great filters of the universe. It also could be inherent cosmic events, supernovas, uh, you know, gamma explosions, black hole, whatever. But it could also, what I think is the great filter, well, the great filter to life, not necessarily to civilization or whatever, the loose definition of a civilization.
Yeah.
But what I think, and we're in the very extremely early stages of it, but I think AI, I think naturally intelligent life would eventually develop AI, to process and to do things that, no being can do, right?
Is a theory that I
For
came
its systems.
across that basically states that, like, if there's any alien thing that would spread across the galaxy, it's very likely it would be something like an AI, type of situation.
AI supercomputer, like
they
super
complex. They have less restrictions physically than living beings would have. And there's even a theory that I suggest is like the reason why we don't see evidence of alien life is because maybe AI did sweep across the galaxy and their civilization is falling, and they created a simulation to try to discover why where they messed up.
And then there's the simulation
that's where
theory.
we are, which is a
open
whole
that
thing,
bag of rooms,
which is stupid.
That's another thing. But possibly.
But on the flip side, though, there is somewhat. I saw someone point out. They go, if we're going off of this assumption that like AI, because there's an idea that like civilization. So if we were to say, when we get to the point where we're able to travel to the next star system, if we were to send out a colonizing ship to 100 different stars and then let the colony build, and then they send out do the same thing, that it would only take a certain like 20 million years, something like that, for it to take over the entire Milky Way galaxy, which is on a galactic scale very little.
Yeah, that's very little.
And if AI would be capable of doing such a thing, and there's already been
probably in a shorter amount of time with self-replicating probes and drones.
And if there's already, and the Milky Way galaxy's already been around for so long, why hasn't AI done it yet? If AI really is that much of a threat, why hasn't it done it yet?
Well, who's to say that hasn't happened already and just hasn't reached us yet? Or maybe in the far reaches of the universe, there's an AI super computer program
in another galaxy, and it's just
like in the far reaches, there's something that's already started from an advanced civilization that got to our point, developed AI, and then went too far, but it was too late. Skynet, and then the AI just started self-replicating and did what it sought best. However, there is the whole, energy cannot neither be created or destroyed. Entropy, maybe it reaches a breaking point where it just implodes on itself and then it dies and then there's nothing, right? Maybe, and that's a very bleak outlook, but maybe intelligent life reaches a certain point and then AI is created, but then the computer can't handle the energy influx, and then it just self-implodes, self-destructs on itself just from the energy consumption
Yeah.
of
But I mean,
trying to run an
that
entire
kind of like
galaxy on AI
the
or what,
entire the entire idea of like why the counterpoint to the AI of like why hasn't AI done this yet? If going off of this idea of like if it were capable of faring across stars, traveling between stars and colonizing and spreading like that, it on a galactic scale, it would not take very long to take over every star system in the Milky Way. That same theory also leads into theory of given how old the universe is, um, the likelihood that a civilization would have done that and they haven't. Some people take that as evidence of being that means either there are no there either is no um alien intelligent civilizations out there, we are alone, or they are out there but none of them are spacefaring, which
well,
like maybe it's just civilizations don't get to that point, and if they
like you were
do,
saying
at
earlier,
most
though,
they don't get out of their
um,
solar system.
just looking at Wikipedia, but what you were saying earlier, and this is with the zoo hypothesis, Earth is deliberately being avoided. Like, why would they care, right? Like,
Yeah,
we haven't reached spacefaring point,
that
so
because
why would
that was my first thought is
um
like a lot of
yeah,
these hypotheses go off of this like they ought to reach out to us. Why ought they reach out to us? Why would they give a shit about us? I mean that
right.
doesn't
And then
account, my thought there doesn't account for that there's no evidence at all. But I'm like, but that was my initial thought with reading about the paradox was just like a lot of these seem to be assuming that we are special despite everything th're saying to the contrary.
mhm.
You know, maybe we are special, and by that means maybe we're the only one. Maybe there's no other um intelligent civilizations out there, or maybe they do exist but they none of them are going between solar systems, and they at most have traveled between planets in their own solar system.
Right.
You
And
know,
maybe colonization isn't a norm, and that's just our human assumption that we
yeah,
must colonize, and that's
there's that too. Maybe
uh
maybe I think
and
it was I read something, it was like Carl Sagan um suggested at one point when he was still around that if civilizations got to the point where they were capable of this level of interstellar travel that we're talking about, they might have gained the wisdom to not colonize and interfere.
here's another hypothesis, another spooky one. The berserker hypothesis.
Mm.
This goes along with the self-replicating probes, but the deadly probe scenario is the idea that humans have not yet detected intelligent alien life in the universe because it has been systematically destroyed by a series of lethal von Neumann probes. Von Neumann
Yeah,
probe is a spacecraft capable of replicating itself. Uh,
they just haven't gotten to us yet.
yeah, maybe it just hasn't got to us yet, and maybe that's what we've been seeing. Who knows? Um, In 1983 paper Great Silence, astronomer David Brin summarized the implications of the Berserker hypothesis. It is entirely compatible with all the facts and logic of the Fermi Paradox, but would mean that there exists no intelligent life left to be discovered. That the AI supercomputer has already been made and is already doing its job, and it just hasn't made it to us yet, right?
Yeah,
And this is the worst case scenario, even worse than that we're the only life, right? Obviously, right? Because then there's something that's going to get us. But in the worst case scenario, humanity has already alerted others to his existence, like
oh
sending out
yeah,
our WOW signal and all that back in the 70s, and all our radio signals and all of that, right? And we're next in line to be destroyed. There is no need to struggle to suppress the elements of the Drake equation in order to explain the Great Silence, nor need we suggest that no intelligent aliens anywhere would bear the cost of interstellar travel. It need only happen once for the results of the scenario to become the equilibrium conditions of the galaxy. We would not have detected extraterrestrial radio traffic, nor would have any intelligent aliens have ever settled on Earth, because all were killed shortly after discovering radio. And if you think in the scope of the universe, right?
Yeah.
And that's from David Brin from The Great Silence. But if you think of the scope of the universe, we just discovered radio seconds ago.
Yeah.
Or not even that.
Not even
Like
that.
we literally just discovered radio and started broadcasting ourselves like we're doing right now.
I
And it's
saw the
like
number out there. It's
if you're a, life destroying super intelligence that wants to just populate the planets and the galaxy, with your AI super complex, like here we are, and like maybe other intelligent life, maybe there's life that is aware of this. That's like, yeah, we're not gonna even try this. Like, I don't know.
so radio waves travel at the speed of light. So if we're talking from the moment that humans discovered radio and started
mhm,
broadcasting radio waves, not even purposely out into space,
yeah, give us the numbers.
172 light years is the range.
Yeah,
But purposely sending out is like what, like 50 light years? Something like that. If that. But 172 light years would be if we're assuming that like just us broadcasting radio waves in general made it out in space and now they're traveling out there. Which is on the galactic scale pretty nothing. That's not very far.
right. And then going back to the Great Filter, which is a less antagonistic idea, but the idea. So from Robert Hanson's argument that the failure to find any extraterrestrial.
This is from discovermagazine.com. Says our radio signals have now reached 75 star systems that can see us too. So there's 75 star systems that know we're here.
Who's to say that they just haven't let us know that they exist, right? Because if you're that intelligent that you are spacefaring beings and that you have or if you're just an AI, why would you alert the enemy, right? Why would you?
Well, I mean, there's also this,
and that's assuming
there's
that's
also
assuming that they're just antagonist, the berserker thing.
There's also an idea of maybe we have been contacted.
And we just don't know.
And just like, do you think the government would tell us that shit? Probably not.
No, no way. Mass hysteria.
Like I don't want to imply like crazy alien conspiracy theories, but like realistically, do you actually think the government would just like let that knowledge be public?
Absolutely not.
Now, of course, there's the chance that maybe a different government around the world, not the U.S. doesn't have to be the center of everything. But would Canada let that be public knowledge? Probably not. Would any UN nation let that be public knowledge? Probably not.
Right.
Yeah,
because that would upend everything. No one would want to,
there's a lot of
anarchy. If we knew there was a advanced interstellar either alien race or just AI system coming for us. I mean, we want
there's probably not a single
follow the speed limit. Like
UN
fuck that, man. I want
to probably not a single UN nation would let that be public knowledge. And out of the few that are not, no one would believe them.
Right. I mean,
right?
Yeah, I mean, there has been stuff coming out with the probes or the Tic Tac footage with the Navy and with the Air Force, in which, who's to say, those could just be. I mean, at what they say, the speeds that they're traveling and everything going 0 to 20 or tens of thousands of miles per hour in an instant, and just not obeying the laws of physics. There's no way there could be a living being in there. Just assuming everything we know about physics, right? But, who's to rule out that it's not some kind of AI, some kind of probe? So yeah, the idea that's like, yeah, maybe there isn't a lot of intelligent life out there because there's all these self-replicating, life-killing probes, and that's kind of like going back to All Tomorrows, where those one guys ended up becoming the probes. I forget where they got but they eventually evolved into just like probes, just balls. Um, um, but then there's also, just like I said earlier, the great filter idea, which is, maybe, it's just inevitable that more likely than not, the intelligent life will reach the point, develop, not saying atomic, not all intelligent life would develop atomic weapons or whatever, but something similar that could destroy themselves, or maybe not even just from warfare, like I said, from climate change, from destroying their own planet out of, greed for resources and, just inherent self-destruction. Uh, but maybe that's just human nature, who's to say? And the great filter, like I said, but it could also be the AI thing where we create our own, destruction from AI. It could also be, maybe there is something to be learned from. Maybe we shouldn't actively reach out for alien life. Just watch the alien movies. Look how that happened. Look what Sigourney Weaver had to go through, we don't want that. So going back to the Great Filter, with no evidence of intelligent life in places other than Earth, it appears that the process of starting with a star and ending with an advanced explosive lasting life must be unlikely. This is Wikipedia, by the way. This implies that at least one step in this process must be improbable. Hansen's list, while incomplete, describes the following 9 steps in an evolutionary path that results in the colonization of the observable universe. 1. The right star system, including organics and potentially habitable planets. 2. Reproductive molecules, RNA. 3. Simple single-cell life. 4. Complex single-cell life. 5. Sexual reproduction. 6. Multi-cell life. 7. Tool-using animals with intelligence. 8. And a civilization advancing toward the potential for colonization explosion, where we are now. And then 9, you have the colonization explosion. So we're like at the, the breaking point between self-destruction or we finally get our shit together and actually explore our solar system.
Who knows? Maybe situations like, I think people like to imagine like very like cataclysms and stuff like that, but maybe stuff like global warming is something that
maybe that's
alien
just one of the
civilizations
great.
deal with, and a lot of them don't get over it.
There's a theory I've seen in the past numerous times that, Venus used to be a lot like Earth. It's a similar size. It's closer to the sun, but it's got a similar, there's evident. Well, it could be seen that, Venus, with its volatile atmosphere and toxic gases and incredible heat and, constant thunderstorms and volcanoes going off, that maybe it was a lot like Earth. But whatever happened there, greenhouse effect, global warming, pollution, just caused its own destruction and transformed it into the inhabitable planet that it is now. Maybe that is more common. Maybe we're not the only losers, destroying our own planet. But I have a fairly recent report from phys.org from May 12, 2022, by Bob Yurka. Planetary scientists suggest a solution to the Fermi Paradox: superlinear scaling leading to a singularity. A pair of researchers, one with the Carnegie Institution for Science, the other with California Institute of Technology, has developed a possible solution to the Fermi Paradox. In their paper published in the Journal of Royal Society Interface, Michael Wong and Stuart Bartlett suggest that the reason that no aliens from other planets have visited us is because of superlinear scaling, which they contend leads to a singularity. It goes on to say, yeah, several years ago, physicist Enrico Fermi asked, where are they? Okay, yeah. But going on, they began by studying how human civilizations rose and fell throughout history. Next, they studied the history of large cities, and there too, they noticed that most grew to a certain point and then collapsed. And yeah, great civilizations always end up collapsing, right? Throughout history. They developed a hypothesis that suggested such rising and falling by alien space civilizations would lead to one or two scenarios. In the first scenario, the civilization would come to realize that they were growing too large and would cease traveling or colonizing other worlds. So they would just simply stop.
Yeah.
And be like, okay, let's stop. We don't have the resources to continue this expansion.
Yeah.
Let's just take care of the planets that we have now before we destroy ourselves.
Yeah.
Right? That's fair. Second scenario is they would not recognize their folly, which is what we may end up doing. Hopefully not. I mean, we'll see coming up. They would not recognize their folly and would therefore collapse. From our perspective, both scenarios would have the same outcome. The aliens would not visit us. So with either scenario, if they stop and realize, hey, we're gonna collapse our civilization and self-destruct if we continue expanding, or they continue expanding and then they self-destruct, and therefore that's why we haven't seen them. And yeah, so from our perspective, yeah, but have the same outcome. The aliens would not visit us or even demonstrate evidence of their existence. The distance from them to us would be too far. The researchers described their hypothesis as superlinear scaling, where a civilization grows exponentially, colonizing other worlds until they become unable to sustain the energy demands of their constant encroachment. Eventually, if they did not take action, they would reach the singularity, a point of no return, at which they could not save their civilization from collapse. They note that were it not for the vast distances involved, we would likely easily spot evidence of alien civilization on the point of collapse because it would be emitting enormous amounts of energy. So we would actually, we would read that, like the James Webb Telescope or something, which I feel like we are actually on the cusp of actually discovering or getting an answer. Is there life out there? Or like the idea of have you heard of Dyson spheres? Like, at a certain point, an alien civilization would create Dyson spheres because they would harness the power of their
the sun,
their sun,
or their sun. Yeah.
We're at the capabilities, our telescopes, and just like with the readings we can get from gases on planets, and
the common sort of scale I've heard was there's type 1, type 2, and type 3 civilizations.
So, and
so it's type
we're not
1,
even one yet, or we're almost one.
So type 1 would be a civilization has
solar. They can harness their star, right?
No, they can harness all the resources on their own planet completely.
On their own planet.
And we're 75% of the way there. So it'd be estimated in the next couple hundred years we would reach type 1 civilization.
Type 1. And then type 2 would be you can harness your star and explore your solar system.
Yeah.
Right.
And then type 3 would be intergalactic.
Going beyond that. Intergalactic travel, you can harness space and time. You reach that point.
Would be which is what you would view as godlike from our perspective.
Well, and think about it. If there is advanced alien races or technologies out there that are manipulating space and time at a fundamental level, how the fuck would we even know Like,
Yeah.
I mean, and also, how would we know? And also, why would they care about us? We would be like just an ant to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so,
Yeah.
but I do like that hypothesis that, they either, but the superlinear scaling, they reach singularity where they either stop expanding or they destroy themselves, which could be possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I want to I'm gonna get my tabs out of the way and we're just gonna brainstorm ourselves.
Cool.
All right, and Colton just edited that perfectly in. Anyways,
I'm gonna
I
leave
just
that
had a
all
thought.
blank there.
What?
I'm gonna leave that all blank there.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
You just leave the space there.
That's where we're
But
gonna
I
put
just
our
had a
ad
thought.
segment if we ever get one.
Right. Well, I've had offers and I'm like, that's not something I want to
Yeah.
do. But yeah, maybe I'll just sell this out, and just sell us down the river. Anyways, I just had a thought,
Yes.
and this is very like stoner kind of thought. But what if there's alien beings having the same conversation right now?
Oh.
Why hasn't there been alien life contact us?
Yeah.
You know?
There might be.
Who's to say? Anyways, I going back to like this the whole like like what you were saying earlier, like how this theory kind of posits that alien life would care, and also that it kind of um well, there's this natural, of course, and more people feel this than others, and especially depending on your religion, etc., your belief systems, that we have this special significance and that, we're special and that um uh we have a reason for being here.
Yeah.
But don't I hate to break it to you. Well, universally speaking, I really don't think we have a reason for here, and I think we're just here. And the idea that, okay, the people that don't believe in alien life think that we're the only ones and special ones. Let's go along with that. Let's say, okay, we are the only life, and that all scientific probabilities and possibilities and like evidence that there is very, very likely to be at least life out there. Who's to say intelligent life, but that's also likely. Let's just throw that all out. Does And this is going to religious people specifically. This is targeted towards you.
Yeah.
What is your scope of the universe? What do you think the universe is? Do you think it's just Earth? Do you think it's just our solar system? Is it just that, or do you think it's just? Are you a flat earther and you think I don't even get into that? Or do you like what is your scope of the universe if you think we're the only life? Or do you you do believe in the scope of the universe and like some science and like okay, if you believe in that, isn't that fucking terrifying? And the whole vastness of the universe that we're the only intelligent life.
That really depends on what religion you're
and
talking to, but as far as Christianity goes,
well,
the short
I just
answer
didn't want to
is
say it.
well, the short answer is no. That's not terrifying because Christians
Right, because
believe in an afterlife.
But also they believe in a hell, and
Yeah.
that's terrifying because if you're not Christian, then you're gonna go there. We already
Yeah.
had that discussion. We did
But
that was our last philosophical
but to them,
episode.
it's like hell doesn't have anything to do with the existence of aliens or whether we're alone in the universe.
Right. Well, but then you're not. Then that still kind of breaches your own logic that we're alone because we're not alone. Then it's like Doom. Then like the only other aliens are the demons, I guess, and angels.
Yeah.
And then if it's anything like Doom, I don't want to be in that universe unless I'm the Doom Slayer. And guess what? You're not the Doom Slayer. There's only one Doom Slayer.
Only one.
And they killed his bunny, and hell would pay for it. I can't wait for Dark Ages, by the way.
Oh my God,
but
yes. I love that in the Doom series, the lore is basically they killed his bunny, and then that character progresses to being an immortal god slayer.
Well, and then he gets time warped back to fighting demons in hell, and then he meets the Night Sentinels.
Joins the Sentinels,
and then he
stuff,
becomes, and then he eventually just becomes like a demigod deity, Doomslayer. But it's still originally like crossing different dimensions, and
crazy.
Doom is awesome. But if it's like anything like that, I hope that's not what the universe is only like.
Let's be honest.
Also, you mentioned it earlier.
You and me would die immediately.
Oh yeah. I would just Well, maybe not. Maybe our Doom experience would come in handy. We would just pose our guns in the center of our chests and run around collecting health packs. Maybe those would spawn in just when the demonic invasion happens.
Just for the sake of experimentation. A game like Project Zomboid, where the idea is you're just a regular fucking person, but in the Doom universe.
Doom invasion?
Yeah. Hell starts invading Earth.
Oh,
fuck. But you're just a regular person, and the entire game is a joke because it's impossible.
And maybe like the Doomslayer, maybe the Doomslayer is like an event.
Yeah.
Like when he runs in killing demons.
Yeah. But it's like the entire game's a joke because it's impossible to survive more than 5 minutes unless you have the random chance the Doomslayer comes through the room, and then you survive 10 minutes.
Right. As long as during his time in the room.
Yeah.
That's a great game idea. Zomboid, but with the demonic invasion. That's a great idea. Just make it a Doom spinoff. Project Doom.
It would be a joke game.
Doom.
But
I love joke games. But going back to what you said, you mentioned it earlier, but the simulation theory. That could be another explanation why we haven't seen life, is because maybe we're in their purposely made simulation. Because going back to the whole AI supercomputer, it would naturally, this is an assumption that an AI would want to figure out how it was created. So naturally, it can't just go to recent events. It would eventually just have to simulate the whole universe.
So here is the problem.
Dawn time, Big Bang.
Here's the problem with that. And why because I mentioned earlier, I do think it's stupid.
But we're still gonna
go into very, very basic, philosophy 101. Every
brain in the jar theory, Descartes, we all know it.
Well, I think therefore I am.
Mm-hmm.
Now that doesn't rule out simulations. There's the matrix idea of the matrix and shit like that.
Yeah.
But if this is a situation where
first couple of movies are good,
AI civilization has created this simulation to try to discover what went wrong, then what am I? Because I'm thinking right now, I know I exist somehow.
That's true.
So what am I? If you have like the Matrix simulation,
unless we're just
the Matrix simulation type of idea, that's an easy answer. Is like you have been plugged in, but it's like, what am I? Am I the AI? And if so, why the fuck?
Because it's different.
Care about my perspective.
Yeah, because that idea is different than we're all just plugged in and like being harvested, or we're a brain in a jar, etc. Whatever.
This is insinuating
if the AI just created a simulation
completely
to determine
from the ground up created simulation. So what am I in that simulation?
Unless I have an answer.
Yeah.
And you can find flaws in this and whatever, but I have an answer. We are also.
What was that you cut out there?
We are also an AI. We're like a subcode within the simulation that is self aware.
Yeah, I mean, so is the AI
But why would it go out of its way to
simulate you and me?
But then again, who's to
Like,
determine,
what
who's to
knowledge could
understand?
I possibly offer to this AI on why and
But
where they went
maybe,
wrong?
it was like we need every being's contribution to the universe, that the butterfly effect kind of thing,
Yeah.
that some stupid thing we did had some greater effect on the universe or timeline that we have no idea about, and that it has to include that, because if it doesn't, it might mess up, it might not give it the answer or like the perfect simulation that it needs, because it wouldn't be a perfect simulation if we weren't all included. It's like,
Yeah.
right? Going to
But
butterfly
they're
effect.
going as far as like, I mean, is this AI like really like every single subcode that represents every person actually a thinking being? Because the whole
Or are we just,
well
or is
well be
everything we're thinking just a predetermined code? And it's already, like, we
but
just have this assumption we have free will,
I'm not talking about free will.
but just the
That
fact
that
that we're
but the
thinking.
fact that I'm thinking means I am
Right.
something.
We are
I
something, whether we have free
exist.
will or not. Yeah, that's a different.
And then maybe there is no free will, but like the idea, my thought is like, so is this AI going as far as to simulate a thinking being in its
every
full because
every being in the universe too, not
in
just us,
well because
right?
so
If
in the
because if it's a foreign AI supercomputer that created this from an alien civilization that eventually created AI and then it
yeah
killed it off and whatever, and then it wanted to determine its own spawn, its own creation, it's like, okay, we got to go all the way back to the Big Bang and
yeah
simulate the universe. Um,
and it's well it's like in the usual I think therefore I am maybe this is a simulation type of thing. The only thing you can deduce is that I myself am a thinking being. I don't know that you are, obviously, because I don't know that you're thinking.
I mean, I'm
I
just in
don't
your
know that.
computer screen. You're just
But
pixels.
in this idea, if we're saying the only way that makes sense is that if I am an AI and AI is simulating a thinking being as me, then it would make sense that I like the AI would be then the only way that makes sense would be if the AI is simulating a thinking being for everyone. Because
Yeah,
why
and
would they
as
only simulate me? How would that make any sense? What could I offer them? So it
mm,
would only make sense that saying they're simulating a thinking being for every single person in this
since
simulation
the dawn of time,
since the
have
dawn of
you?
time.
So
And
trillions and trillions
and if we're
of.
getting to that point, like this is a simulation that is going as far.
Well, this AI is far beyond just an AI.
Well,
It's a
well,
god. And maybe
but
that's the god we've all been praying to.
yeah, well,
Whoa.
it's kind of where I'm going is like this idea of
Yeah.
like if this is a simulation and this AI is going as far as to simulate every single person,
Gods and
meaning
AI people.
meaning that if
Right.
every person I meet in this simulation is a thinking being,
Mm-hmm.
then this practically is a real world.
Well, yeah, and that's all that matters, right?
Because we're all
Yeah.
because if this AI is has a simulation and it's simulating every thinking being, then you have billions throughout the history of mankind of thinking
Right.
beings experiencing the same reality,
Yeah.
even if that reality is a simulation. Is that not just
Who cares, right? Yeah.
the
I
world?
mean, if it's real
Like,
to us, it's
is this is like
yeah.
this is the only example of a simulation. Like maybe this is all simulation argument where it's just like, okay, so
Mhm.
because it's like it's the only example like because like yeah it's just
I okay, veering off from the AI thing, and that this assumption that alien races have to become these interstellar time, basically space and time traveling races, and blah blah blah,
yeah
and they develop AIs. What if there's just plenty of like relatively, intelligent, advanced civilizations that just um are either at around our level, of civilization or lower. Like maybe
Yeah.
there's more primitive civilizations, maybe like the Wookiees or something. I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe there's intelligent life out there that has just entered the Stone Age,
Yeah.
you know? And why would we have discovered that? We would be the aliens to them. We would be the ones eventually discovering that, right? If
Yeah.
they have just reached a Stone Age and we reach out, right? So there's the idea that maybe eventually we will find life and it will surprise us.
I've seen a few
And
people
also going back to
suggest
like
that,
the
like,
water worlds,
yeah,
like the
well,
water worlds idea, like maybe a lot of the hospitable planets out there, habitable planets, are like oceanic based planets.
yeah.
Like
Well, I mean,
are like ice
I've seen
planets where
some
they
people
live under the surface of the
suggest,
ice, like because Europa could very likely have at least microbial life, but even very well as like marine life.
yeah,
Because underneath the great sheet of ice over the moon, you know, thermodynamics, the water could be warm and
yeah. I've seen
have
some people
life.
suggest
Uh,
this idea
so
that
yeah, like I said, it could be a
we
lot of fish
might
out there.
we might be um pretty early in the history of the universe. Meaning, like,
Right.
maybe
We act we
all these theories we're talking about, we're just too early for them.
yeah, maybe we're one of the earliest
Yeah, like
forms
maybe
of intelligent life,
maybe there's a
or
bunch of
maybe
other
we're one of the
civilizations.
last.
Yeah, or like maybe there's a bunch of other civilizations out there, but they're not any more advanced than we are because we're so early in the lifespan of the universe
Yeah.
that we just haven't gotten to that point yet.
Yeah, there could be plenty of like class one or lower than like class zero civilizations out there that just don't have the capabilities that are around our level and have no reason or don't have the capabilities to
Yeah.
encounter or communicate with each other.
Or
Um,
maybe it's like Star Trek with the what's it
but
called?
there's
The
still the
Prime
idea,
Directive or whatever it's called, where they don't interfere with developing civilizations.
maybe it is like, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like,
But there's still the idea with enough time and that considering the universe is over 13 billion years old, that something's got to give. You would think that there would have been an interstellar civilization at this point. And who's to say there's not? And maybe they're just avoiding us
yeah.
or yeah, they don't interact with us until we reach that point, until they deem us worthy,
I
or
mean,
maybe they're afraid of us, right?
ultimately, this is
Because
kind of why it's like
if you
it's
looked
called.
at Earth, if you looked at Earth 60 million years in the past, you see a bunch of carnivorous, terrible, giant dinosaurs, right?
Yeah.
Or if you look at it 1,000 years in the past, you see uh like the Roman Empire, etc.
Yeah.
And
Well,
that's
it's
terrible. And if you
ultimately.
you go back, or even if you look now, if you look at us now,
Uh-huh.
yeah, I would not want to visit Earth now if I had the
No.
choice. I would not want to interact
Well,
with
and
us.
also it's like ultimately
So
all this stuff we're talking about is like it's called a paradox, but it's not really a paradox because
no.
the initial assumption is if considering all this math and this probability, if all of this math and probability is right, then we must have seen evidence by now. But it's like, but you're going, it's completely built off of probability. There is still a
Mhm.
probability, even if it's small, that we are alone. Or that we're not alone, but no one is space traveling.
Here's another
Even if
idea.
that's a tiny, tiny possibility, it's still a possibility.
Here's
You
another
know,
idea. What's another thing we're developing that's kind of AI adjacent? Virtual reality.
oh yeah, yeah.
So, not going as far as simulation theory, but the fact that we are further becoming introverted and, socially inept with social media and now with virtual reality and going into virtual worlds, right? And further isolating ourselves.
Yeah.
Maybe that's like a popular thing in the grand scheme of the universe is, maybe virtual worlds.
Why would
Maybe
I
that's something that
possibly
alien races do.
why would
You
we
know,
possibly be interested in discovering alien races when we could play
when you
Star Wars
can
Outlaws?
Oh God. Well, I heard that game's like mid. Like I heard it's
Yeah,
fine,
I have a
but like
coworker who's
nothing
playing
I
it,
heard it's
and
just kind of
I have a
just
coworker who's
Ubisoft
playing
doing
it,
Ubisoft. Like,
and she said it. She's really enjoying it, but I've heard a lot of people be like, "Yeah, it's okay."
well, I heard it just has so much promise, but there's just like it has like a nice, so to say, coat of paint on it. Like the
Yeah,
atmosphere, the planets look nice, the graphics are nice. You know that it's extremely immersive, like as far as like the towns and everything, and like the props and like I know that's where Han shot Greedo, all that stuff. But there's like
yeah.
no interactivity, like with NPCs, they're just props, right? It's
Yeah.
all just dressing, and like the gameplay is
I
extremely
heard someone say
limited.
they were like, this would be a really good game if it came out in 2010.
Right.
Like they're just like
Yeah.
it's
And I'm
yeah.
not expecting Red Dead 2 immersion levels of detail, but
Yeah.
you know, considering it's Star Wars Outlaws, you should be able to interact and like rob people and like, you know,
Yeah. It's it's
do
it's it's
and
one of those
also you just
games.
carry different secondary weapons. Like I heard you just get the blaster and you can like use different weapons, but you never get to keep them. Like that's stupid. Like come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, it's one of
And
those
like
games,
stealth gameplay.
if it ever
Sorry,
goes on
tangent, but
sale
like
for like dirt cheap, I might check it out, but only if it goes on
yeah,
sale for
it would
like
be a
dirt
cell game,
cheap.
especially like with patches and well, I heard like it actually like runs fine and everything. It's just it didn't have enough time to cook. Like it
Yeah.
didn't it's just kind
Maybe
of
if it gets mods at some point. I know
yeah, mods.
Ubisoft is notoriously very um they're not like aggressive against mods, but they make their games very difficult to mod. But
Hmm.
recently I know like people have kind of cracked the code on a lot of the Assassin's Creed games on how to mod them. So there's been mods coming out for Assassin's Creed games
Oh yeah.
recently. So maybe there would be mods for it that might make it better. I don't know.
Assassin's Creed games are one of my favorite like takes on like the simulation idea.
Oh yeah.
Going back, living in your ancestors' memories, like
And
living through the memories.
it's how it explains how you like respawn and stuff like that. Is it's like if you do
Hmm.
something you die or do something you're not supposed to. It's like that's not what they actually did.
Also, and
So you have
everybody
to do it
complaining,
again to get it right.
everybody bitching about the realism with the new Assassin's Creed with shadows. Assassin's Creed is science fiction. It's historical fiction,
Yeah.
fantasy. It is fantasy.
Yeah.
There's ancient alien civilization straight up, like play AC2, play Brotherhood.
Yeah.
Ezio
It's
straight up interacts with aliens.
it's a fantasy
Um,
series set in a historical backdrop. That's what it is. But
right.
it's a fantasy series. And I appreciate in a lot of the games they make some
Sci-fi
effort.
even. I mean, it's just
Yeah. In a lot of the games they make some effort for some not accuracy but historical authenticity is
yeah.
how I
Oh,
would
I heard
describe it.
their
Valhalla's
ninth
really
century
bad about it.
Baghdad. Well, I heard a Mirage. Their knives. I need to play that more. Actually, it's pretty good. Like it's a little bit more back to basics, but like I heard the ninth century Baghdad is super accurate. Like it's just as far as the NPC like costuming goes and like the
What
architecture and like the
what I've
recreation
heard
of the
about
city.
that is like that sort of stuff is really accurate, but we know very little about what Baghdad was actually like in the ninth century.
Well, and but here's the thing. Just going to my
So
point about
they
Assassin's
had to fill
Creed.
in a lot of gaps, but
Well,
that's
but going to
okay
my
because
whole point about
that's
Assassin's Creed though, it's historical fiction. It uses historical settings as its setting, as its
yeah,
playground for
but
you to
it's
do cool shit
still
in.
fantasy and science fiction and
It's a fun, goofy video
yeah.
game where you jump into haystacks from hundreds of feet tall and you survive and you blend in from the crowd and turn invisible. And, you know, it's a goofy game.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's why we like it, right?
Assassin's Creed
You get
Odyssey,
to,
you play as an actual demigod.
but I think the
Like,
thing with, right, yeah. But the thing with AC Shadows that does set it apart from the other Assassin's Creed games and has created some more controversy is that Yasuke, you actually play as a historical character. You've never played
that's
as
not
a
true.
historical.
You've never had a historical character as a main character. You have played as
When have you
historical
played
character.
as one?
I know Leonidas in
Okay, yeah,
Odyssey.
you briefly play as him. I guess
There's
that's true.
another
Yeah, technically.
example. There's a what
But most
um
time you play as a original character and you interact with historical people, with characters. Um, it's probably good, probably been ending this soon, but uh, but you know, but it's stupid. I think AC Shadows looks fine. Does it look kind of mid? Yeah. I mean, with all the great, like with Ghost of Tsushima and with
oh
I
yeah,
mean games like that. I
you
mean, how
play
do you
as
compare it with
Jack the
that?
Ripper
Oh
in the
yeah.
DLC for Syndicate, and then you play as Anastasia Romanoff in one of those like
Oh,
side-scrolling ones.
oh, one of the side-scrolling ones.
Yeah,
That's cool.
but none of those are the
Um,
main characters. You have
One that's
segments
never a
where you get to play
mainline.
as them.
Yeah,
This is
it's
the first time there's a main playable character
featured.
who
Yeah,
is a
protagonist.
real person. Yeah.
Um, but anyways, I think that's probably a good point in that we're just talking about Assassin's Creed and Ubisoft games now. Um, I would love to just do another just open-ended conversation about the state of gaming right now.
Yeah.
One other tangent, because I just saw it today. Have you ever heard of the game Concord on
Yes.
PlayStation
Yeah, I
and how
followed
it's
some of the news on
quickly
that.
died?
Yeah, they
It's
peaked at
gone.
1,000 players
That was
on
its peak,
on Steam,
and it's had like roughly 100. Yeah,
and they're like delisting it on
there's just a
PlayStation now and all that.
delisting
And
it already after a couple weeks, and just
yeah,
a well, and it was less than a fail. It's just a generic hero shooter. When there's so many hero shooters, you can play Overshot. Oh,
yeah.
I mean, Overwatch. You can play Destiny 2. Marvel Rivals looks
I
fun.
I
You could
saw
just play
and
Team
and
Fortress. You could,
this isn't my original take. This is I saw someone online, maybe it was like Luke Stevens or something, kind of say this, but they were like people were kind of rooting for this to fail. And the
it
reason
did.
being is because like the PlayStation 4 generation, it's like PlayStation built their name on that during that generation on like critically acclaimed single player
Yeah,
games. And now they've totally switched models into really pushing
it's
live
been few
service
and far
crap.
between. Yeah,
And like the not that anyone really wanted this game to fail, but
give
this
us
game failed.
Bloodborne port,
Yeah. But
Bloodborne remaster,
it's not
Bloodborne
that
2.
people wanted this game to fail necessarily, but more like this game failing is kind of a win against the live service model that Sony's been pushing. Because it's
Yeah.
like,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, even the Suicide Squad game has, more players than that. Hell, even modded, I'm sure I could play Space Marine, the original one, and have more active players than Concord.
yeah.
Or Concord, whatever you fuck. But that's just another thing. Anyways, I think that's a good point in it. We're just going tangent. Uh,
Let's see here
and
right now. I'm
yes,
um Euro Truck Simulator 2 has more concurrent players right now.
hell yeah.
Uh, um yeah.
Oh, have you seen the news about the Bloodborne emulation? Like how fast that's exponentially grown and like it's almost like playable. Like it is playable. Like it's
Damn.
really choppy, the frames, but it's like within the next couple months, you'll be able to fully emulate Bloodborne
Oh, damn.
on PC.
I've been
Um,
hearing rumors of
I
a
think it's gonna be a like cross-generation PS5/PS6 title. That's one of my theories that Blue Point Games is gonna do like a Bloodborne remake, or like there's
yeah.
From Software is gonna be like, oh yeah, Bloodborne 2's coming out. And I think that's why they've been waiting so long. But it's like, goddamn, why haven't we got a port of that game? Anyways, that's another side tangent.
I've been
A
hearing
PC port of
rumors
that would be
of
beautiful.
Bloodborne 2 at some point.
Really? Like actual rumors?
Actual rumors of Bloodborne
I've been hearing
2.
whispers of that. I mean, for years.
I think Jake
that-
Palladino mentioned it recently in something.
Really?
And what his thoughts were, that would be cool, but that's not what we all really want. We all really want a PC remaster.
Yeah,
That's
just a
what
port,
everyone really wants. Because
so we could get it running.
you don't need to mess with what's not broken right now.
Getting it running with RTX and with 60 frames plus and mods and just high fidelity textures, with NVIDIA in the background. Yeah, that would be nice.
Project Zomboid is number 49 on the highest concurrent players right now on Steam.
Yeah, we've been playing that.
Right behind
we should actually
Cyberpunk.
start streaming. We start streaming at some point.
Yeah, we've streamed twice.
Yeah, and we didn't even broadcast it or anything. But anyways, I'll be, as you may know, I'll be gone this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll be back. We'll be back on a regular basis. I know we've fallen off, but we might have some scheduling changes, but for now, I want to try to keep it the same.
We'll be
talking about that, but we're gonna get back on track. Anyways, we'll see you next episode for another riffing and raffing episode of the Drunk Podcast.
Yeah.
This is not a test. I repeat, this is not a test. The Odd Drunk Podcast recommends you follow their Instagram and join their Facebook group for more fun content. To visit all of our current streaming and social media platforms, visit the link tree in the description. If you enjoy the show, we would be appreciated if you would leave a review on Apple Podcasts. The Odd Drunk Podcast would like to remind you to drink responsibly and not to drink and drive.